Hello, dear friends. We are happy to have you here with us on this international discussions, which is being carried out in addition to the conference Global Crisis, Time for the Truth. It was truly a historical event, and on the 4th of December, people from all over the globe, millions of people, united and witnesses for the first time such a huge event that uncovered unprecedented topics and discussed it on the international level. So it is a conference, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth. This conference united people from 180 countries of the globe, and it continued over 12 hours in a live broadcast, and such vital topics as climate change was discussed, the catastrophic situation in our ecology. And, we discussed also the reasons for this dramatic situation in climate change. So why is it happening? But also we discussed the shameful side of consumer society, such as human slavery. So the truth was voiced in over 100 languages. This event was organized by volunteers. And we have today also participants of this conference who managed to organize it. And we are happy to discuss the topics of this event today with you together. So, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, dear viewers. As usually, we continue uncovering the topics raised during the conference, as well as sharing our impressions of this significant event. Please let me introduce our guests. Dr. Sara Umar from Pakistan, Associate Professor of Arts Department of Graphic Design at University College of Arts and Design, as well as Doctor of Philosophy at University of the Punjab. Ms. Benjapon Pana from Thailand, a freelance Thai tutor at Learn Thai with Ben and Managing Director at Training and Education Service Thailand Co. Limited. Christine Sousa from United States of America, President of the Armenian International Women's Association in San Francisco. Welcome, dear guests, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Hello, friends. Yes, we would like to talk to you today on such a topic that indeed is an everyone concern. This is the topic of climate refugees. They, or to be precise, our dramatic destiny if we do nothing and will continue to support the consumer format of our society, but also how we will deal with this upcoming global cataclysms when we unite and build, create a society. This is actually what we are doing now. So before we start with our today's discussion, let's watch the video fragment from the conference.
Why is there such inhuman treatment of people? I was thinking about it and decided to figure it out.
You will never spend a month without being attacked with a xenophobic attack, because they say as a foreigners we are stealing their work. I've lost that hope of being in the great society. I don't know, I've lost that hope because seeing the way that people are being killed, seeing the way that people are being shot in my eyes.
A child can be sold many times. I remember one day I came across the story of a girl who was, she was Turkish. She had been sold 17 times, and she had been trafficked from one country to another 17 times, and she had experienced only rape.
I also sat in many auctions as a customer, as an undercover when I was doing the undercover. We were sitting for the auctions, 9-year-old girl, 10-year-old girl, as per the demands. So the trade called the first time sex. Whenever the auctions will happen, new girls arrive in the trade, so they put the auctions. So who will bid the last demand, the money, that person only will use that victim full night for his choice.
The business that is made of spare parts, the human spare parts. How many children have been transferred from one place to another and then being operated on for some rich guys in different parts of the world to get a kidney or get something else from their bodies against their will.
Black market, traffickers, mafia is part of this economy that is ruling the world. So what else I can say? That I only see that the other possibility is to spend money instead of constructing walls like we are doing in Europe.
In our society, human life has no value. How is it possible that instead of help, people encounter violence, aggression, abuse, and slavery? This is not a migration crisis, but this is a crisis of humaneness.
People, by looking at the existing legal frame, will not ever be entitled asking for protection. Because you will ask them which country you're coming from, they will say there is no country. I had a country called X, but the country now is underwater. Or I had a village and this village is being totally destroyed or disappearing.
It turns out that there are still no effective programs for the resettlement of refugees. For so many years, the United Nations has been working. For so many years, the Refugee Rights Commission has been working. So many humanitarian organizations and NGOs around the world have been working, but there are no working, established or adopted programs on how to work with these refugees. There are none, and the Refugee Commission itself admits this.
Now refugees are forced to leave their homes. They face condemnation and cruelty. They are left alone with their misfortune because of the consumerist format of society. Tomorrow's climate catastrophes could be upon us as well. Answer yourself honestly. Are you ready to face what refugees face? Are you sure you won't be in their shoes? That you and your loved ones won't have to go through what they're going through.
Yes, these are indeed shocking facts. This is the reality of already many, many people. And we will come back to the topic of climate refugees today. But I would like to start with a discussion to hear your impressions of this truly historic event. Dr. Uma, I would like to ask you first. So you are such an active participant of the global project Creative Society, and you participated already in previous conferences, and you are always ready to share your professional opinion, your experience with us. And in the last 2 years, many years that we are actually already working together in this project, this project grown so fast and in such a scale, so that the last conference has broken the records of the previous ones. So what was your impression and your insights after watching this conference of the 4th of December?
Thank you. All the questions that were raised in this conference in their own means are very shocking to all of us. And unfortunately, we live in a world today where we are facing this injustice towards humanity. Because I am associated with religions and I've read almost all the ancient religions of the world. And I would say, because today we have lost our moral values, we have lost that discipline that was the key thing, which was the reason why religions were initiated in the world. It was only after we see religions being initiated in the world when we see that man started living a community life. He understood for the first time that if he's living in a community, he is dependent on others. And when you're dependent on others, then you learn to live together. If you pick each and every religion of the world, there are two paths. One is that you believe in something, and the other, more important, is the right that you should give to each and every human being. And today, unfortunately, we see what we see today is that we have lost the binding force of understanding that how important the religion is for us, because it disciplines you. It tells you that what, like for instance, I would like to quote saying of Prophet Muhammad, that you should like, and likewise you will find several in Christianity, in Judaism, in Buddhism, you have to think about the other person like you think about yourself. You have to think about the child of another person like you think about your children. You would like what you like for yourself as a gift, you would like the other person to give you, you should give that thing to the other person. And if we today just understand, all humans of the world, just understand this basic principle, I think all these problems, whether it is human trafficking, whether it is refugee problem, whether it is you're raping children, innocent children, all these will stop. This is a basic understanding what we need to do. I would say this conference was excellent in the sense because sometimes you have, in order to mobilize the masses, you have to reach out to the people. And I think this platform is one such platform that is making an effort to reach out to the people. Because there is another saying that I would say of Prophet Muhammad. He once said that if there is some injustice been going on in the world, you try to stop it first with your hands. If you can't do it with your hands, then you try to stop it with your tongue. If you can't stop it with your tongue, at least, which is the least, you say the least of faith, that at least you consider it that in your heart. That is the lowest level of faith. And today, unfortunately, many of us are involved in such cases. We humans are involved in such cases. So this is what we have come to. And I think this is an excellent platform to just let the people know and just to shake people up. It's wake up before it's too late. Because I read someone once, and that person said, the only thing that differentiates humans from other species in the world is your compassion that we have. And if there is no compassion, then there is no humanity. And today, several of us have lost that compassion for others. And this is what we need to tell the world: wake up before it's too late.
Thank you very much also for sharing such a wisdom from Islam. And indeed, also the Project Creative Society was blessed by the one of the imams of the oldest mosque in Germany, for example. It was blessed by Pope Franciscus, for His Holiness. And this is also a very important topic for all people, since most of people are believers, to understand that we should live by this understandings. We should live and build the world according to this wisdom. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Definitely, thank you, Sarah. And now I have a question for Ms. Pana. Ms. Pana, you took an active part in the conference Global Crisis Time for the Truth as a simultaneous interpreter from English to Thai language, so that many people who speak Thai could watch this unprecedented conference in their native language. Could you please share what encouraged you to participate and what are your impressions of the conference?
Of course. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for you all to ask me to join this conference as well. With my personal impress with this conference, it was my first time, and I feel like the things that you have been doing, you gathers people all around the world just to realize the problem that happen in our society and try to avoid this problem to people to realize that what was going on, what happened, is amazing. So it's the truth that people need to realize what's going on in our society. And it gave me the opportunity to do something that I've been wanted to do, like simultaneous translator, and meet a lot of people from around the world. Yes, and I would be happy that to help out this project and distribute the information so that more Thai people can join into this project as well.
Thank you very much also for being with us today. We have also, despite the whole time difference we have today, so you and Dr. Sarah have such a already deep, late evening, and thank you that you found time to participate today. And the conference on 4th of December, it took place over 12 hours. So the live broadcast continued so long, and there was so many informations from different specialists and such a vital information. So as you said, the truth was voiced on the whole world. So I would like to ask also Christine, thank you that you joined us today as well. Could you share what part or what information moved you the most?
I mean, I thought the conference was absolutely spectacular, and the breadth and wealth of topics that were covered, and the fact that the organizers were attentive enough to have it translated in so many languages to bring the global community together to think about and spark conversation on topics that are critical for our, livelihood as a human species, all sharing one planet, one universe, one cosmos. But frankly, and unfortunately, these are topics that we don't typically discuss. So, the fact that it spanned 12 hours, the fact that you had more people watching than you had before is just a testament to the fact that people crave having these conversations that are more wholesome, both to be educated and learn, but, to take action, because these aren't topics that we can ignore. These aren't topics that can continue to live within, a think tank or academia or published in esoteric, publications that aren't disseminated broadly. But these are topics that fundamentally impact everyone, every single human being, every single animal. If you live and breathe on this planet, then these topics impact you and your family and your friends. So I'm so grateful to have been invited to participate, and just incredibly proud of everyone who's taken the time to participate and put together such a important mosaic of topics. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Christine. And we continue discussing the topics of this conference. So practically it didn't end. It's continuing with these discussions because there was so much information. And, one of the topics related to the first foundation of creative society, which is the value of human life. So this is very important today to raise this question, because unfortunately what we see that the human life has no value, because it looks like the wallet have more priority than the human life today. So, and this lack of true values brought us today to the dead end in our consumer society. And in the 21st century, even today, we have such a technological development. We still have people suffering from, dying from a lack of water, food, from polluted air, and so on. So many, damaging factors to our human life, and the climate is a main enemy today. So we have also human trafficking that exists today. So Dr. Sarah Uma, I would like to address this question to you. So what is your opinion? Why is it happening? So, and is there anything more important than human life from your opinion? So how we can raise this question to bring this awareness to everyone, since it really concerns every one of us?
Actually, again, I would say we have lost compassion in us. If I see the past in the last 2 decades, what we have witnessed is first world country, unfortunately, declaring war on countries, and I would say uncalled wars. One example is obviously Iraq. Another example is Syria. Another example is Afghanistan. And due to that, the importance of, I think, they think that the people of the first, the life of the people living in the first world countries is more important as compared to the lives of people living in not the first world countries, I would say. I would not characterize them into second or third world countries, but I would say they think that the lives are, and this is what I have witnessed. My father was posted in Lebanon in the early 80s, and I witnessed a lot of conflict being done due to Palestine and Israeli war. And due to that, obviously, sometimes the Muslims, I remember once they hijacked an American plane. And against 10 Americans, they asked for 100 prisoners that they had taken. So, Yani, you can just compare that one American life was against 10 other lives. And this is what we see when we see the Afghan war. When drones, terrorists were targeted with the drones. At the cost of one terrorist, they would kill several children and several innocent civilians. The war in Iraq that we see today, human lives were lost to find those weapons of massive destruction that was claimed by the so-called first world countries of the world. The NATO forces, including the USA. Were those weapons ever found in the world? It's been more than 2 decades. Are those weapons found? And at the cost of that, how many lives were used? How many people lost their life? How much infrastructure was destroyed? And this is something I see the reason for declaring war on lesser government is because their political interest and monetary interest in war. I think compassion has ended. There is no sense of compassion. Only self-interest are important. And few people, when I say the think tanks are involved in that, I don't say the innocent people are involved with the first world country. But are they ever asked? I was attending a conference in London a couple of years back. And in that conference, there was an American soldier who had left the forces. And when he read his paper, and he, obviously the paper was about what the world is doing today. And he said, I was posted in Afghanistan. And when I saw that against one terrorist, you're killing several human lives, it was a lot of pressure on my conscience. And I could not. I left the army due to that. I left the forces due to that. And I have chosen myself to become a civilian. And he was not just one person. There's several persons. Any human being with compassion cannot take the life of another human being without feeling guilty. But unfortunately, what we see today is nations and lives being taken, and there is no sense of remorse. Tony Blair, after the Iraq war, apologized as a sitting prime minister. But did the other nations that were involved in the war, when weapons of mass destruction were not found, did we see them apologizing to the Iraqi people? No, we did not. Because I think there is no compassion today. And another important factor is media is manipulated. That is why I like the platform of Creative Society. At least it is trying to make a difference. Because today the media is not playing a positive role. Had the media been playing a positive role, I think we would not have faced the consequences, whether it is related to loss of human life, whether it is related to rapes, whether it is related to human trafficking. Had the media of the world been playing a positive role, we would not be sitting here today. I think there was no need for us to sit today had the journalists been playing a positive role. Unfortunately, which they are not. In fact, media houses are also equally into this thing because their monetary interests are also in it. And this is what we have come to, unfortunately. I read somewhere that when civilization started, it was approximately 10,000 years ago, 10 to 12,000 years ago. Within 5,000 years, man started to learn, which is the first text that we find are the cuneiform tablets of Mesopotamia. And in another 5,000 years, we had produced atomic weapons. Within a span of 10,000 years, we built the earth, and with one atomic across the globe, we can destroy it too. And this is what we have come to. If we call this learning, if we call this technology, then I think we need to sit down and see whether technology is important or compassion is important. And this is what we need to understand as human beings. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much, Dr. Romero. Definitely, what we declare today in documents of international organizations, in constitutions of countries, unfortunately, we do not follow all these declarations, and we do not live according to what we write, what we state in front of other people. And we need to change this situation, and this can be changed only by changing the format of our society from the consumerist format to the creative one. And this is what we are doing right now during this discussion. We are changing the format, we are changing our minds, and we share the information with our viewers. And for sure, nowadays, there is too much unfair treatment in all corners of the world and in all countries. We should stop it. That's why we should act. Act like we're acting now, sharing the information, and then we will be able to do more when we are united. We should unite in front of our single enemy today. This enemy is climate. And the climate is one for all, irrespective of who we are and what positions we take. Doesn't matter whether we are poor or rich, whether we are powerless or powerful, there is no getting away from the climate today. Our orders can stop climate and our money can stop it as well. Nothing but our unity can stop it. We hear so many forecasts today, and they say that we have decades, we have even centuries, but just looking out the window, we see that we haven't got that much time. We don't even have 10 years. And it is very important to find solution to the climate threat as soon as possible. Already today, we have too many climate refugees who are in fact the most rightless group of people, and there is no even such status as climate refugee today. I have a question to you, Ms. Panan. What do you think? Could anything be more important than survival when we all are on the edge? What should we focus all our attention on today so that we have the future at all?
So in my opinion, so what we should focus on this day to survive, so we have the future, is exactly what are we doing right now is like try to share information that we all got and urge encourage other people to understand what happened, the more that we share the information, the more that people realize it's not like one person or one organization that take responsibilities for this, but it's for everyone to understand and everybody act at the same time. So that is the way to, in my opinion, that is the way to make all of us walk through, keep forward in the future, survive in the future. Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you very much. It was actually also my next question, since so many people all over the world understand that we need to do something, so that the problem of the climate crisis is so urgent. And at the same time, they cannot even join these discussions that our leaders have on a global scale, on the international scale. So you cannot join these discussions. They are closed and they cost a lot of money. And there is a question, but what was decided? Does it put us any forward? Why is the climate situation getting even worse? So we see that it's not effective. And it was exactly the question that I would like to ask also Christine. So, this conference was initiated by people themselves, from people to people on their own, on their own forces, everything they had, without any financing, without any funding. So how important is this social active position today of each of us? And what do you think should be done by everyone in order to understand that we will not manage to go through this crisis without, being everyone active in informational stage of creative society?
I think a lot of it comes down to the fundamentals of, the mindset and the morals, the values, the principles within which decisions are being made. And we've heard a lot of the panelists touch on this concept, and this is something I say time and time again. We have become a society, a world, and a people that values profits and power over people. And if we continue to make decisions where profits and power are in the top positions, and we don't put other things in the top of the list, like the value of people, like how we treat our planet, how we treat each other, then we are always going to be making decisions that support profits and power over people. And so, to the point that Dr. Sarah made earlier on the media is, they're for-profit entities, and, they're showcasing and reporting their financials to Wall Street or shareholders, whatever it may be. And so again, we go back to this idea, this mindset, and this prioritization of making decisions where we're putting, again, profit and power in those top two lists. And until such time that we accept and act both as adults and start to teach the future generations as early, school age kids, this idea of putting value on the planet, putting value on people in those first two places, then there will be a fundamental shift. I think another component of this is this idea of abundance versus scarcity. We tend to have this approach that the world is scarce, that there isn't abundance, that there isn't ample water or opportunities or schooling, financial stability for everyone. And the reality is we live in a universe and a cosmos of abundance. And so I think if we can shift those two mindsets that we approach things, again, placing priority on people and the planet, coming from a place of abundance instead of a place of scarcity, I think we'll see a fundamental blooming of more beautiful humanity where, we're not having displaced people all over the world. We're not fighting for wars. We're not looking for weapons of mass destruction. And we're, approaching the way we make decisions from a fundamentally different set of principles.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Since we are raised in these conditions, consumerist conditions, where we shift our responsibility and expect others to do our job, but also others, like if we talk about politics or mass media, they have their own problems in the consumer society, and the experiment that was made on the conference showed that there is no response, almost no response to the initiative of people who want to hear the voice of their representatives on these urgent topics. And at the same time, this conference showed how many people, amazing people, and including you, joining us today in this discussion, who really understand how much everyone can make a difference. And we will also ask you later about it. What can everyone do in order to contribute to this project, to this initiative that can really change a lot? Thank you.
Yeah, and we should hurry up because the time passes too quickly. And every day after the conference, climate events occur that claim large numbers of lives and leave people homeless and without means of livelihood. People who used to live in relative stability, safety, who were making plans for the future and who were preparing for Christmas are now vulnerable to the elements in the United States. And this shows once again that no country in the world is prepared for what is already happening, with more and more people forced to flee because of climate change. And after all, only by understanding the true causes of what is happening right now on the planet, we'll be able to find the best solution. And this solution, which will require for all humanity to survive. Basically, we need to unite all our scientific potential. And I have a question for Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, please, could you tell us your opinion on how we can reach the hearts of everyone? How can we spread this information to everyone so that everyone hears it? Even, those who do not take seriously the fact that tomorrow this trouble will affect them if we do nothing today.
Thank you. I'll begin with giving example from my region. It's been 70 years that the Kashmir issue is unresolved between Pakistan and India, although the UNO in 1948 passed a resolution that the right should be given to the Kashmiri people. Last year, when Kashmir was shut down, and even today it is shut down since last year, a war would have been instigated between Pakistan and India. And both are atomic powers. So when I was reading the logical effects of the climatic change, if a nuclear war was instigated between these two countries, how the world will be affected. Initially, obviously, this region will be affected, but later on, what will happen? South Asia produces 1/3 of the world food. We export it to the rest of the world. So this would be saying no to 1/3 of the food that has been produced. Then, due to if, God forbid, there's an atomic war, obviously the consequences would be that the region would be covered with smoke, and that smoke, due to that, sunlight would not be able to come, and there would be no growth, and there would be no life, whether it is related to vegetation or humans, everyone will suffer. And then that smoke will just not remain on South Asia, but it would eventually travel to the rest of the world. And this is what the geologists say, that we will be nearing, if an atomic war is instigated in any part of the world, we will be nearing another ice age. And how many of us will be able to survive in that ice age? So climate is an issue that obviously whenever war or unnecessary things are declared in the world, it will have devastating effects that we as humans will not be able to stop. What we can do today is that we can check our actions, because our actions will affect our later generations. And as individuals, we need to teach each and every one that each one of us has to play a role in order for a peaceful world that would mean not only peace for humans to live, but peace for the environment as well. Because I am sitting today in Lahore, and the air quality of Lahore is one of the worst in the world today. And due to that, several people are dying. We as individuals can instigate the media to carry out campaigns that can tell humans how in our own individual capacity, each one of us can play our part in it. Like cutting down on using private cars, using public transport, and where there is not required, shutting down factories in residential areas, because this climate is affecting all of us. This is taking us towards not only a premature ice age, but it is also, unfortunately, killing several of us.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Also, we talked about it on the conference that we as humanity today are not prepared to these climate events that are already taking place. So we are not even talking about the future events that get even bigger, more intensive, and more unpredictable. So today the science cannot predict many climatic events, and they just leave people unexpected, and they just say, okay, I didn't expect it, I would never thought that it will affect us any day. And the following factors, like today's consumer format, where we have human trafficking, slavery, and unsolved issue of climate refugees. So it will be our concern in the next years, but actually we as humanity are concerned what is happening in our home today. And the question is how the situation will change if we implement the 8 foundations of creative society, where the human life put first, where there are no private interests, but our interests, us as humans, to improve our lives, to put all the technical solutions to improve our living, to have the technical solutions for better living, for better education, for better healthcare, and so on. So, Christina, I'd like to ask you, so how do you think our future, also due to the climate crisis, will change if we indeed, when we indeed implement these 8 foundations of creative society?
I mean, I think you said it right. When we prioritize people and we make decisions that benefit people in general, then the principles within which we're making decisions will differ, and will fundamentally start to pay more attention to things. I think right now, every once in a while you'll see a headline or a topic on what's happening on the planet, what's happening with the icebergs, different, warming, global warming, all these different sorts of things. And we hear them, but we don't place attention to it. We're not attentive to it. And it feels like it's something distant. It feels like it's something over there. It's not going to happen to me. We still have time, whatever it might be. So we go about our day, whether it's in our private cars, plastic bottles of water, throwing trash everywhere, going back to this idea of consumerism, where we need more, we want more, we need it now. And so I think if we fundamentally need to change the mindset to care about these things and to make space to learn about and talk about these topics that we don't usually discuss, and we don't recognize that we play a part in that. It's very easy, you know, to not think that your specific or your personal actions are then a part of something so much bigger. And that's another part of it, is having this realization and accepting that we are something bigger than ourselves. Everything is connected. What happens in Europe affects what happens in Asia. What happens in Asia affects what happens in America. And what happens in Russia affects what's happening in Latin America. Those seem to be such big concepts. And if we can double click on that and recognize the individual impact that we have, as we go into the holidays and meet with family and friends, if we have the courage to talk about those topics. I've been to so many events where people have plastic plates, for example, plastic forkware, things are to go. And we just create so much trash, as an example, that goes back into the climate. Then something happens, and then there's a catastrophe, people lose their homes. So everything is connected. And for me, it goes back to this belief of, we have to place people over profits and power. And that starts at the home, that starts in the classroom, among friends, and slowly, hopefully we can get to that point where we switch the overall global priorities, and it's less about the profits. It's more about people and sustainability.
Yes, indeed. We also discussed this problem of pollution, of rubbish, that today in the consumer society, even the rubbish has more value than a human life. And what we also saw at the conference, many very important interviews with scientists, with biologists, with astrophysicians, and so many statistics showed that besides the ecology, there are also many factors that we cannot deal on this stage of our development, since such such issues need a more scientific unification, also more technical solutions. But today, what we observe in the consumer society, that it goes to the military industry or any other industry that doesn't bring us forward as humanity. So when indeed we put life first in the creative society, then also the scientific and technical potential will serve for this, to find this solution to cope with the climate issues and this cosmic radiation that today are threatening us as a population, as humanity. So I really agree with you that putting life first will change a lot, and we will find the solution when we unite on this value.
Thank you, ladies. I agree. We are over distracted today, and we do not pay necessary attention to the core things, to the most important things. A lot of people today, they don't even believe that the climate threat exists. And now I have a question for Ms. Panan. You know that many people think that the issue of climate refugees is the issue of a few countries, just a few countries, because, not everyone even knows about the real reasons for climate change, and they do not even understand how rapid the catastrophes are and how rapidly they are growing in their numbers and intensity. What would you tell to those people? How has your personal perception changed after you watched the conference? How do you see the world now through the prism of the information voiced at the conference?
Okay. I agree that so many people, some of them, they didn't even realize that what's going on at the moment in other part of the world. So in order to tell them to realize that we should keep giving information and use the media, the social media, or like what we are doing right now, and all the information that we gave them. So little by little, it might take a little time, but at the end, if we all keep doing it and it start from ourselves and spread among friends or our small communities, and it will keep getting bigger and bigger, and it will help everyone realize what's going on, and they will that one when the things will shift and change. Yeah, just keep believing and do whatever we are doing right now. Yes.
Thank you very much, Pana. And thank you also to you all, our dear guests, for your contribution, also for your impact, since every one of us makes a big difference. So you all bring your best motivation to make the creative society possible, since we are now on the first stage of implementing this project worldwide, the informational stage. And these discussions, in addition to the global conference, Global Crisis Time for the Truth, it can be shared further with your friends, with your relatives, with your colleagues, so that everyone will see how important it is today for us, for everyone, to discuss these issues. So not only the problems, but also the solutions, which are in building the conditions for unification of our scientific, technological, and intellectual potential, which is only possible in creative society. So thank you very much for being with us today and sharing your understandings and impressions of this conference. Thank you.
Definitely, thank you so much. And now we would also like to ask our dear viewers, please send your video questions to the email info@creativesociety.com. You can also ask your questions on its Instagram and Twitter pages of the Creative Society project, and we will insert your questions into common international discussions, and then we will discuss these topics together with our distinguished guests. This will be very interesting for us because we need to broaden the discussion. We need everyone to be involved in this discussion. Basically, we need the whole world to be involved into the discussion of our common future.
Yes, thank you very much. And we are also here today, the international team from the USA, from Thailand, from Pakistan, Russia, Ukraine, Germany. We have also many friends today, participants of the global project Creative Society, supporting us in the technical issues, and also this unification, the unification that we saw at the conference, Global Crisis Time for the Truth. It is possible. We see that we are not alone. So there are millions of people who think the same. So please share this information and join the project Creative Society, and see you soon at the next roundtable dedicated to the conference, Global Crisis Time for the Truth. Thank you very much.